with me. I wanted to get started. I'm not going to be able to see it. I wanted to get started after the LSU Florida game, but it looks like it's might be going into overtime. So let's see here. Send that out. Let's do. Let's see, where are we going to send it? Send it here. Hopefully y'all can hear me as you join in. I'm just sending this out and then we'll get started. It looks like my mic's working. And someone wants to give me an update when this LSU Florida game's over. I should be watching it, but I decided not to wait. Let's go. Send it out here. I think one more should do it. Let's do it here. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I think it's week 14. Thanks for joining. Saturday night, goingfor2.com. This is War Room After Dark. You can follow me on Twitter at @NotDuckHodges. And this week, feel free from a fantasy, like a redraft league. It's like most leagues, it's like the start of your fantasy playoffs. So if you do have like questions or start sick, get them in. But I would honestly say you've made it this far. I don't want to be the one to sway you on a decision. Make it, nut up, and play who you want. I would say just what I would suggest is if stick to your studs, or stick to the guys who got you there. So don't try to overthink it. Like you picked up Deandre Washington, you're thinking about playing him over someone just like Mike Davis or something like that. Just throwing names out there, but I try not to get too cute. I'm going to play like my Lamar Jackson over Kirk Cousins or something like that, even though Kirk is in a better matchup. So that's my PSA for that standpoint. But feel free to get the questions in. Just don't blame me if you lose, because it's playoffs. This is important. We're here for glory and to make money, right? But this week we have I think the first time in a while, or at least where all the games were like on a Sunday, Monday. I have like all the teams playing, so we have a ton of games we could potentially go through. From like a DFS perspective, when the slate's so big, we have 13 games on the main one. It always makes it tough, and we've talked about this before. But if you're trying to pick like the best players in isolation, it can be done, but it's extremely difficult. And thinking, Derrick Henry from this game, Curtis Samuel from that game, DeAndre Washington from this game, Travis Kelce, like just picking doesn't always work, because then you have to get 9 things right. So here on these big slates, I'm trying to isolate my favorite plays, and then just kind of rotating between some of these game environments. Usually the games with the highest Vegas projected total, but then some of the ones that are in the mid 40s or even lower 40s this week that I think have a chance to play, to shoot out, and just kind of playing those games and playing 2 or 3 people from those games. And if those are the games that get to 50 plus points, you've gotten 3, maybe 4 players. Sometimes you can even do 5 from the game that have produced points and get you there. That's how you win tournaments, when you're not doing the Millie Maker or something like that. If there's hundreds of thousands of people in it, then yeah, you need to be perfect. But I prefer just to try to find those game environments. So we'll hit those tonight, and then talk about some of the totals, the spreads, fun stuff like that. Let me see what this LSU game is doing. 45 seconds. I don't know who has the ball. Let's jump into the first game. Let's go with one of the highest totals, which we'll start with the Vikings at Tampa Bay Bucks, and the Bucks are about a touchdown favorite. The game totals about 52 points. The thing with this, a lot of games that are over 50 points, none to me just scream out like you have to play dudes from it or multiple dudes because none of the games with the highest totals really have close spreads. So they could get out of hand. One team could show up, one team couldn't. That's kind of what these spreads when it's a touchdown or something close to that. There's just a lot to it. Whereas before, if we had like the early on in the year, it was Seahawks versus Cowboys, and I don't remember the spread, but it was probably like 3 points. Those are the type of games when the team totals are like 55. I'm just going in on both sides. So that's why I'm saying we can talk through all these, pick the ones you like, pick a scoring environment and roll with it, and hopefully you hit it, and then your other core is on point there. The Vikings at Bucks. The Bucks have like the best run defense in the league, and the early on in the season, everyone thought their pass defense was pretty good, but the last couple weeks, now granted they played Kansas City, I think before their bye week, but they've been struggling before that, and so their secondary's been showing some softness there, and so to me, I don't think this is going to be anything. I think this will probably be what people do if they're playing the Vikings side, but I think I like the passing attack. The most expensive quarterbacks from a DraftKings perspective, I think Kirk Cousins is a great pivot off of them, being one of the lower owned ones, or sorry, lower priced ones. He's not like bottom of the barrel like Mike Glennon or Jalen Hurts, but I don't think you have to play those guys this week. I think Kirk's in a good spot, and you know where he's going to be passing it to. It's going to be Thielen and it's going to be Jefferson. And then depending on injury news, which Schefter should be starting to tweet out here soon, Irv Smith is probably one of the better lowest price tight ends. I'm hoping Rudolph is out and Irv is back. So I like their 3 people there. Now Cook is going to be super low owned. And I think if you're trying to pivot, zig when other people are zagging like that, I do think that would be a decent idea. But the Bucks side, I think a lot of people be on Brady. I've heard some Ronald Jones love. To me, I'm just trying to figure out which pass catcher to really focus in on, and it's tough because it could be Gronk, it could be Evans. He catches the touchdown. Seems like to me. I think right now I'm leaning Godwin and Brown. If I do both, or if I do 2, if I only do 1, I'll have to figure it out. Brown's the cheapest. But it's tough to say, but I really like the 2 passing attacks for this one. The spread indicates to me that the Bucks might get up, and I think before the bye they indicated they might want Ronald Jones to pound the rock a little bit more and probably save Brady until they get to the playoffs. I'm assuming they still think they can make the playoffs, but I think the passing attacks there, I think it's a pretty good scoring environment. It's outside, but it's in Tampa. I need to check. Let me check right now. I don't think there's any weather concerns for any games. That will help sway some of the decisions because I think there's so much here. Let me check. I've probably given him a plug before, but if you have Twitter, just follow Kevin Roth. He tweets out these reports for all golf, baseball, football, college and pro, the weather conditions, and sometimes you can get an edge there when the games are super windy or something like that. So let me just take a quick peek without reading too much. Now, looks like no real dangers that we'd have to worry about. Let's see. We got some. What's up, Sean? Need 1 PPR flex redraft. We got Juju, Devontae, Raheem, and Gio. Let's see. PPR flex. It would be fun because Juju plays. I know he plays Sunday night. I was gonna say if it's the Monday night game, you'd have something to really watch. Mostert scares me just because he's kind of in a timeshare with Jeff Wilson right now, so I'll cross him off. Parker's playing with Tua, which scares me. I'll cross him out. Gio, so it's Gio versus Juju. Gio's not in a bad spot, but like I said early on, Sean, I'm not going away against the guys who I think got me there, the perceived studs, the guys you drafted, and that'd be Juju. So I'm not going to kick myself for overthinking that. That's just what I do. It's probably a little bit more conservative, but I'm not going to regret it if I just stay consistent there. So play Juju. He's your boy. Sean also needs 1 tight end. Reed, Irv, Eifert, or Schultz. don't like Reed. I just talked a little bit about Irv. It depends on the Rudolph news, but I think he'd probably be the best play. Assuming Rudolph is out, let's pretend that Rudolph is in. Eifert's questionable too, so you'd have to wait and see. But I don't mind Dalton Schultz. It's just the problem. They're playing Cincinnati. The problem is that Dallas just still has so many mouths to feed. It could be a Zeke game where he just runs over everybody. Or, I mean, then they have 3 wide receivers who could easily catch the touchdown. So you got the 5th catcher kind of person who touches the ball in the pecking order. He's been doing all right so far, and that offense can't support it if they score. Risky, but Schultz would be my next if Irv, for some reason, isn't the starter. So we covered Bucks. I'll just undo that. So let's go to another. Let's jump to one of the lower scoring games. This segue, we just talked about the Cowboys and Bengals because I do like this game. It's funny though, Vegas has it like at a 44 game total. Cowboys favored by about a field goal. I don't disagree with that from a DFS perspective. I would say I like both of the defenses because I do think either one could just shut out Dalton, or I think, is it Brandon Allen starting this way? I think he's healthy enough where he's playing. Either way, it's him or I think Finley is his name. Either way. But I think a lot of people are assuming this is going to be decent scoring environment. Vegas is basically betting one of these offenses shits the bed, which could easily happen. But I'll definitely be focusing in on that for most of like my core football lineups. But I would say that there is a decent chance, like what everyone's thinking, that both sides do play well. I do think, with really both teams have handful of pass catchers, and I know T. Higgins for Cincinnati's questionable, so hopefully he's just ruled out, so that makes it easy. I just go to Tyler Boyd, and then Gio's the starter still. He's getting some catches out of the backfield, so I like them. If T's in, I kind of like T. It's just tough to stomach trying to play like 3 Bengals or choosing which one will get there. Then the Cowboys, I mentioned the 5, and I do like them all. Obviously, if it's Zeke game, then I'm not playing the running or wide receivers. If I'm playing the wide receivers, I'm not playing Zeke or the tight end. I think I'm going to probably eliminate Amari Cooper first, just because I think it's William Jackson, the cornerback from the Bengals. He's decent. Amari's better, but I'm just looking for reasons to narrow it down. CD, I think, has the best matchup or role. The slot, Andy Dalton will probably be getting it off to him quickly with his low ADOT, and then Michael Gallup is very cheap on DraftKings. At redraft, I wouldn't be touching him because he's kind of like a boomer bust guy, but he's been showing up a little bit better in the last couple weeks, and so I do like this for both sides. And like I said, it's only 44 points, so might be kind of overlooked there, but I do think there's some good value. I'm not touching the quarterbacks, but skill position players. So let's bounce to another, or the higher scoring ones. Let's go to Titans at Jags, and Derrick Henry's probably going to be the most popular running back. He's notoriously dominated the Jaguars. I think it was a Thursday night game 2 years ago. He ran over him for 250 yards. Everyone remembers that when they think about the Derrick Henry games. And Jacksonville Jaguars can't stop anybody. So it makes a lot of sense. But Titans favored by a little bit over a touchdown. Game total is around 53, so I do think Jacksonville can keep up, and I don't blame Vegas for thinking that because Tennessee's pretty bad on defense as well. So we'll start with the Jaguars. I think it's pretty easy. You can play James Robinson now. He's getting expensive on DraftKings. It's tough, and with the other chalk or value that's turned up, he's probably a pretty good tournament play. He's probably not going to make any cash rosters. His price has been going up like since the beginning of the season when he was dirt cheap, and each week I'm like, oh, I can't stomach anymore, and then he just keeps producing. But I think 7.5 is right where he should be. And then the pass catchers, I'm going to monitor this Tyler Eifert injury. I might have interest in Shaughnessy if he's the only tight end. Otherwise, don't care. And I'm an idiot for Shark. I play him every week. I love Shark. I don't know why. He was good last year. he was good the first week. Glennon threw some passes to him, so I'm just going to keep just chasing that dragon. And so he'd be my play if I think this game opens up a little bit more. And then everyone's going to be playing Derrick Henry. Makes a lot of sense. So a good tournament thing. I think this is just as good a spot for Ryan Tannehill. A.J. Brown, Corey Davis has been doing really well. I think Jonnu's going to be back, so it takes me off Ferkser. Last week I was on a lot of the Titans thinking that this game, it could shoot out, and then the Bengals, or sorry, it was the Browns actually blew them out, but then the Titans in the second half just scored a bunch of garbage time and paid off. It could happen here. It could be more of a shootout here. Vegas kind of thinks it could be. As long as Jacksonville keeps up, I think they could air it out. But there is some risk there because they could just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry 30 times. He rumbles for 200 yards. But I'll definitely be on Henry. And we got another question here. 2 QB questions. Taysom Hill or Big Ben? And pick one. I'm going to do. So let me just start there. Taysom Hill or Big Ben? Big Ben. I don't think Taysom has to do much this week, and the Eagles are pretty good. It's weird. They're good against the run, which I don't know. I don't have the data to say what they would be against a running QB, but I know like Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham are pretty good, like in the trenches. So I would imagine Taysom not being able to just run free early on, and then I honestly think the Saints just destroy Jalen Hurts, so they might not need much. Big Ben's in a pretty good scoring environment against the Bills. Buffalo just peeking at it. Doesn't look like there's going to be any weather concerns. Buffalo's horrible except for Tre'Davious White on defense. So I like Big Ben there. I'll get to your other question after we go to one more game here. But keep those questions coming. We had about 900 people watch this last week. I don't know what you guys were thinking this was going to be, but I think you were confused. I don't know why anyone would want to watch me, let alone 900 views. Or I guess I should thank mom and dad for just clicking refresh 900 times to get the views up. But I didn't really want to do it today because I was tired. But then I was like, you know what? Let's see if that was a fluke. So keep people coming, retweet it, send it out. I want people in here so I can give them horrible advice, and then everyone can blame me, and then they can come back to see what other shitty picks I make as we get into the playoffs here. Let's go to another lower scoring game. Let me chew this ice. Our projected low scoring Texans favored. And these lines are a couple of days old, so if it changed, don't send this to me in the chat saying, oh, it flipped and the Bears are favored. Whatever. Texans favored right at the Bears, 44.5 points team total. The Bears recently have been falling off in their pass defense. I think Buster Skrine is their slot corner is out for the game. I think it opens a lot of things up. And Deshaun Watson, I love Deshaun Watson. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks. He's just been in a shitty situation since he started, had some injury bad luck, and then just an idiot head coach. And they're not putting the right people around him to do well. I digress. But Watson is one of those quarterbacks that can do it on his own or elevate whoever's around him. So I think, and as a fun narrative, he hates the Chicago Bears because the Bears drafted Trubinsky over Watson. For some reason, he has beef about that. Besides, he didn't get drafted second. He thinks they promised him or some bullshit. I don't know what it is, but he hates them. He's been very outspoken about it. And I think I think the data showed like the 1 or 2 times he's played against him, I think he's actually played well. So love Watson this week. And then I think Cook and Kiki are questionable. I'll have to monitor that. I was the guy last week that avoided Kiki Kute. Everyone was playing him. I just thought I used to love this guy back from his Texas Tech days. I thought he was a great prospect, and then Bill O'Brien just kept him in this role and even when he got chances to play, he just never did anything. And so I thought it was more him. And then like his first catch was like for 80 yards. And I was just like, holy crap. And then he's got caught like 8 for 170. So couldn't win any money last week because I didn't have the obvious Kiki Kute cheap chalk there. But I'm going to be stubborn, not go back to him. But he's probably an okay play. Hansen, I might play him a little bit, like especially just like the early only slates, which has 7 games on it. I don't think you need to go there like full full game, and I think he'll be decently popular. So it might be tread lightly there, but I'm not going to be on the running game. I've fallen for Duke Johnson too many times whenever I think he's going to get the ball. Just doesn't work that way. And if you're playing him in fantasy redraft leagues, be careful because he doesn't catch passes because Watson doesn't throw its running backs, and then just doesn't. He can't run. He's not built to run between the tackles. So beware there. Other side with the Bears, Montgomery's just been playing awesome for like 2 or 3 weeks. Nothing's going to change. He's playing a horrible Texans run defense too. Like him in fantasy redraft, DraftKings might be the same thing. I might play him early only, and then the other slates avoid him because he's just getting up there in price. And he had a good game last week, but I have the bias that most everyone says. I don't have much data behind him. I just don't think he's that good. And so his 2 weeks good run here, I'm going to bet against that. I'm going to short that. And then I do like Allen Robinson. The issue is always like he gets the targets, but I don't think he's had 100 yards, or he's like only had 2 games this year and only like 3 or 4 touchdowns. So he's just really not doing it. He's a great wide receiver and has great stats, but he just doesn't have that ceiling, I think, to just break through it. If you want to pivot a little bit, I mean, I'm not going to play Trubisky. I think some people will. So maybe the Texans defense, if you want to get creative, because the Texans defense kind of sucks, but I think Trubisky sucks more. So you can then just bet on that. So that's something to consider there. Let's go back to Sean. He's being patient. He had one other QB question. Then Mark has one. So I'll hit that one too. Let's see. Pick one out of Big Ben, Kirk Cousins, and Matt Stafford. Stafford plays the Packers outside. The highest game total. I think I'd go Kirk Cousins, to be honest. I just really think if I'm power ranking, I'd go Kirk, then Stafford, then Big Ben. I think maybe Big Ben second. That one's tight. So yeah, just I think, but Cousins is my one there, just because I just talked about. I think he's in one of the better scoring environments on the week. Where did that game go? We talked about that one. Yeah, at the Bucks. Yeah, and then Mark said half PPR: Boyd, Anderson, Kuti, or Juju. Pick 2. I actually like all of them this week. I'm going to eliminate Kute just because he doesn't have the I don't even know the right word to describe it here. I don't think he has the enough game data to back that he's better than the other ones. But I do like the other 3. I'm assuming you mean Robbie Anderson. I can't think of another Anderson wide receiver, so it has to mean Robbie. Robbie's going to be kind of already is the number 1 wide receiver, but he should get more targets with DJ Moore out. Boyd, you're betting on a risky QB, so I'd rather play Big Ben, who's a competent QB. So I would go Juju and Robbie Anderson there as my 2, the guys that got you there most likely. Let's see. So we just did a lower scoring game. Another one of the higher scoring games. We're kind of running a little long here, so I'm trying to pick and choose here. I'll be quick with this one. The Raiders at the Colts. The Colts are favored by like 3 points. Game total is 52. So if you're just kind of looking at the totals, you'd think this might be a good spot. To me, I might just completely avoid this game. Maybe play Jonathan Taylor, but I'm going to bet that I'm betting the under. I just don't think I can't trust Carr or Rivers to really put their teams in a shootout. Jacobs should be out. The Colts have a great defense. It's in a dome, which may be why there's a hiding one. But if you're gambling under the team totals there, the game totals there. So let's just move on, because if I'm betting the unders, I'm not playing it in DFS. Chiefs at Dolphins. We'll just get this out of the way. The chalk should be the chalk of the week now is Deandre Washington at running back for the Dolphins. Revenge game, because he was on the Chiefs earlier this year. but he's the starting running back, the cheapest on DraftKings you can be at a running back position. I'm surprised no one's asked yet if you should start him in redraft. It depends if you like. I don't know how you're in the playoffs if you have that much running back trouble, but like you thought you were getting CMC back and now you have to bench him and you're just desperate, then all for it. But someone asked me like if I prefer Mike Davis over DeAndre, I'm going to pick the guy that's at least shown it this year, or any other running back that's done that for that matter. But for DFS DraftKings purposes, he's a great play. If I was going from like a pass catcher from there, it's tough to trust Tua, but he's kind of built a rapport with Gesicki over the middle, and that's where the Chiefs are the softest. So if I think this game could open up a little bit, and Vegas has it like 50 points, Kansas City favored by a touchdown. So I think there could be some points scored here. That's probably all for the KC for because what the Chiefs can do. And I don't think I think most people figured out by now you can just play the Chiefs whenever. We don't need to really go into too much. You don't need me to tell you it's good to play Hill or Kelsey. It's just a decision with their high ownership. If you think that is worth it, they can destroy the slate. They've both taken their turns. And I heard an interesting stat today. I forget who said it, but it might have been Evan Silva or just the established the run guys. But they said if you took Travis Kelce's scoring, he would be the wide receiver 3 on the year, only behind Hill and Devontae Adams, which is crazy to think about. So Kelce is the third best wide receiver, and he's at the tight end position. So I have him in a couple leagues, and I don't think my teams are that good, and I have buys this week, and it's because Travis Kelce is basically a cheat code this year. He's always been a cheat code, but even more so because I think only Waller's kind of kept up. Kittle got hurt, so this has been a bad year for tight ends unless you're Kelce. So if you have him, you're probably sitting pretty. To me, I guess the question is, can you play other Chiefs? I'm going to avoid the running back situation until this plays out. CEH burned a lot of people last week because he was sick and then didn't play, even though he's active. Who is it? Sammy Watkins, Mecole Hardman. I think they're just thin. I just can't get there. And the Dolphins do have a really good defense. No one's going to, not even the most elite defense could stop Mahomes, in my opinion. I do think they can slow down some of those ancillary pieces. So to me, this is a game where I'm not going to get cute and think, oh, maybe Hardman will get over the top and score an 80-yard bomb. I'm not going to think that way. I'm going to assume that the Dolphins are going to be really good at stopping the mediocre players like the Le'Veon Bells, the Watkins, the Hardmans, but the Hills and Kelce's of the world will be the ones that actually produce and score here. Let's see here. I don't know how long we've been going. Probably about 30 to 40 minutes. I always try to keep these like 45 minutes or under. So if you have any questions, get them in before I get bored and end this. Looking at a couple other games here. I got 3 I highlighted. I don't know if we'll get to them all. I'm trying to think. We'll go quick through. We'll just do some quick hits. And then we'll leave it at that. The Seahawks at Jets. The Jets are favored by 4. No, not the Jets. The Jets are not favored by 14. That'd be scary. By the way, does anyone think, I don't know how the Jets can intentionally tank. Like, it cost the defensive coordinator Williams his job, so I don't think he was out there tanking. But blitzing 8 people on a Hail Mary play, you knew was coming, like, is the dumbest thing ever. I don't, obviously the players would never tank. I wouldn't, as a fan, want anyone. I would want my team to tank and go like 1-15, but going 0-16 is like the biggest black eye ever on your franchise. I don't even think you can't even overcome it. But Trevor Lawrence might be the one person worth doing that for, because if the Jags maybe won 2 games, then they try to win. But Trevor, with the Jags with 1 win, I don't know what happens if the Jets would have won, who has the tiebreaker. And I like Fields too, and he should go number 2 overall. But I think Trevor Lawrence is that slam dunk prospect. So wouldn't blame the Jets for tanking. If I was a fan of the Jets, I would be happy that happened. But you can't imagine the coaching staff wanting that. Maybe the owner did, but he can't tell them to do that, because the coaching staff, they're all going to be fired at the end of the year. And Greg Williams lost his job right after the game, and he's already done a ton to tarnish his legacy and be an idiot. This might be his last gig. I hope it is, because he sucks. But that might be it. That'll be his last memory, is just him blitzing 8 people on a Hail Mary and giving up a long touchdown. What an idiot. I digress. I said these were quick hits, and then I'd talk about last week and the Jets' ineptitude. Seahawks favored by 14. I don't try to get cute in these. I don't try to think, oh, it could be a blowout and then Russ could be benched or something like that. I think there's more danger for Russ here, just because they do like to run the ball anyway. But when the Chiefs played the Jets, I don't know who else recently played the Jets, like the studs get their points. They're going to get there. The Raiders got there. And so I'm going to be playing Russ, DK, Lockett, probably avoiding Carson, just because he's still coming back from injury. He got decent workload last week. I would give him a little bit of a break when he's not needed against the Jets. And then flipping it over on the Jets side, I think you have some of the best values. Everyone will be playing Denzel Mims. I like Crowder if he plays. It sounds like he's more doubtful. And then you can consider Braxton Berrios. I think that'll be pretty popular. It's ugly, but that makes it very affordable, so you can get some of these players in, get some of the other guys in. But that's what I'm talking about, game environments. I'll probably have plenty of Russes to DKs, bringing it back with Berrios. Maybe I'll have a Russ DK Lockett, bringing it back with Broussard Perryman, something like that. If I said Mims earlier, I apologize. Mims is not playing. Don't play Mims. Play Perryman. I'll do something like that, and just hope that somehow, some way, the Jets keep up just a little bit, score something. Not likely, but they could score. Perryman goes off big early, and then they falter. Who knows? That's what I'm talking about with scoring environments, just trying to isolate that game. If I get that right, if the Seahawks score 35 points and the Jets score 21 or something, that's close enough for me. If I get it right with like Perryman, I'm probably assuming 35 points, having like a Russ, DK, Lockett, I have a pretty good share of those points in yards. So I probably am good there. And then so I've knocked out 4 good chunks. Then I have to worry about 5 other roster spots instead of worrying about 9. I don't think you can win the Millionaire Maker doing that, but you can win the 5 to 10,000 to 20,000 entry tournaments, which I like to do for this very reason. A couple other games: Falcons at Chargers in LA. I think that's a dome anyway, so whenever in LA's not really going to have weather concerns. But I highlight this one. I do like the Chargers side. Falcons, they've been just this year just been bad, and we have some. I think we have 3 or 4 games of Julio not playing, and the Falcons just struggle. And so I think all 3 times I've been guilty of just going way too heavy on Ridley, on Hurst, on Gage, or Olamide Zaccheaus, whatever his name is, Christian Blake, whoever those guys are. I've played them all. I'm guilty. I should probably just be stubborn and do it again, but it hasn't worked. I finally learned my lesson after 3 or 4 times. I'm not playing those Falcons. I think it's a risky spot. If anything, I like Ridley because he's so good, but he has a tough matchup. So it's got a decent total at that, right around 50. So I think a lot of people will be trying to get sneaky and play that. But I do think I think Mike Williams might be one of my favorite. Yeah, he might be one of my favorite like sneaky plays. He's right there, like 4,500-ish. Curtis Samuel's just a little bit more. Everyone want to play. Broussard Perryman's just right under him. Everyone want to play. Mike Williams is that type of receiver that, he 2 or 3 times a year he just catches these long bombs. I love Mike Williams in tournaments most weeks. This would be a great spot. Probably a little Hunter Henry too. But excuse me. I do like the air attack. I think a lot didn't talk about this, but I do think a lot of people like Austin Eckler. So I'm going to be probably going more to, and Eckler can obviously get through there, but I'll be going more to their traditional pass catchers from that standpoint. Last game we'll talk about here. If anyone's got any questions, send them in. Got the Packers at the Lions. And the highest projected game of the week, 55 points. When they faced off like week 2 or 3, everyone thought it was going to be Rodgers to Devontae Adams just slaughtering the rookie corner Oduka. Turned out to be Aaron Jones like just running wild, going crazy. I did not play him. I know I didn't. I was kicking myself for not thinking about that. So I think Aaron Jones will be decently popular. I also think Rodgers and Adams will be pretty popular, and all of them together will be pretty popular. You don't need me to tell you that. It's just like the Chiefs, but you can play Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Devontae Adams. Oh my God, breaking news, right? More about the Lions. We got to decide here because to get to 55 points, because the Packers are favored by 7, which is implying they get what, 32-27, something like that. My math is horrible. But that would, yeah, something around that. So how do the Lions get 27-ish points? It's tough. DeAndre Swift should be back, but it's a new coaching staff, and he's not really playing for probably to get the job. You got to think like management's saying, like, we've seen enough from DeAndre Swift to know he's a talented running back. He's a good core for our future. I don't think they need to run him 20 times this game. He was looking like he was trending there before the concussion. He had like a mysterious illness that kept him out like 2 or 3 games. So a lot of people are just saying, no, if he's back, he's fully healthy, he'll get his allotment. I'm not so sure. He should command a share of it, but he's very expensive on DraftKings. If it's like redraft and you're in the playoffs, yeah, fire him up. If you don't have better options, he's a pretty good option, but he's priced up pretty high because the way to attack the Packers is through their soft run defense. They stop everything on the outside at the wide receivers at the perimeters with Jair Alexander, and I forget who the other one is. Is it King? I forget his name. Sorry. So I'm not really on I'm not on Marvin Jones. He should be shadowed by Jair. I don't like any of those ancillary pieces. I guess I do like Hawkinson a little because I am assuming the Lions, because Vegas thinks it, the Lions somehow score here. So if I'm not liking Swift, hi guys. If I'm not liking Swift, then I think it'd probably be Hawkinson. Does Amy have any questions before I sign off? You guys are catching the tail end. I'm wrapping it up. I got things to do. I'm going to go watch the new Spider-Man. Not the new Spider-Man, the 2019 Spider-Man that I haven't seen yet. Let's see, but those are all the games. Trying to think. Sunday night, Monday night games are pretty good. I'm just not going to really talk about them. But the Steelers-Bills should be a shootout, and then Ravens at Browns. Ravens like destroyed them. That was week 1 when the Ravens looked like they were still like the same offense we knew. I don't know if obviously I don't think it'll be like the 45 to whatever drumming there, but do like Lamar a little bit. I do think that'll be a pretty good game. No other questions. So we got through about 7 or 8 games there. Thanks for tuning in. We're probably right around 45 minutes. Did the LSU game end? I didn't even get to see it. Someone let me know what happened there. Anyway, but thanks for tuning in. Check me out, goingfor2.com. Follow me on Twitter at NotDuckHodges. Good luck, week 14 and the playoffs. God damn it. Look, here comes the question. A.J. Brown or McKissick? A.J. Brown. Oh, you really?